Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Escalating. Talk everything in love and law, and I hope you like it here and I hope you stay. Please like, please share and subscribe. I'm going to a wedding, that's why I look like this, but I also thought, you know, because I'm going to look nice and I'm wearing Ivy Park, I'm going to shoot some content. Anyway, I'm getting into the topic of this video today. Why I sold my Merc for a Polo, right? Now, the simple answer is because I couldn't afford it, and that's that. But I'm going to explain why, and what I'm trying to do with this video is like take away the shame in not admitting that I can't afford something that I thought I could afford, or you know, taking away the shame in admitting, Guti, sometimes we make mistakes and we don't have a choice but to rectify those mistakes, and us rectifying that mistake means the whole world is gonna know, because hey, you're no longer driving a Merc, you drive a Polo. But yeah, I think this video is important because especially when professionals start working, they are usually not financially aware of certain things. They're not financially educated. Personally, I wasn't financially educated. It's not even like I came from like the poorest of poorest backgrounds, but like I wasn't educated in the sense that I didn't understand the importance of saving. I didn't understand the importance of not living beyond my means. And so I made a mistake in buying the car, and I want to talk about it today, and I hope that it helps, you know, especially graduates who will go and start working, you know, in the years to come. I hope you're not like me. Maybe you're already smart, maybe you're already woke, but if you're like me, maybe you watch this video and remember it, you know, when you have to start making financial decisions and make the right decisions for yourself. So in 2015, I had a car already, okay? My dad bought me a car in varsity. I think I was in second year, and it was a good car. I loved it, quite honestly. It was cool, it suited me, you know, it was my car, you know? When you saw me with my blue Corsa on the street with the rims, you knew it was Atlachang. So when I started working, I actually didn't have to buy a car. But then I had this notion that I'm earning, you know, this money. To me, it seemed a lot at the time, because I mean, I wasn't earning that type of money before. I'd never earned that type of money before. I mean, at Red Bull, yes, I had gotten big paychecks from SARS, you know, come tax return season, you know, we'd get checks like 20K in July. We'd get checks, right? Big checks, but that wasn't like a monthly thing. So when I started working, I was earning just shy of 20K take home, right? And a bit more than that in my second year of articles. And I had this money, I was staying at home, I didn't have to leave, work was 5 minutes away, I had a car. I had so much money, in my opinion. My first paycheck, I remember I gave it to my dad for religious reasons. First fruits, what we call first fruits, I gave it to my dad, not as my dad, but as a pastor, okay? I gave him my salary and he gave me 5,000 Rand. And he gave me 5,000 Rand to get through the month, you know, in my first month of working sharp. Then 6-7 months later, I decided, you know what, I want to get a new car, because I saw that my money was finishing, but I didn't know what it was finishing on, right? But the problem is I hadn't implemented a savings structure or whatever. Like, money was there, but I wasn't saving money. And that's the first mistake. When you start working, when you start earning a considerable amount of money, a portion of that money, I would advise you must go towards savings. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. None of what I'm saying is financial advice. I'm talking about my experience and what I did wrong. And, you know, couple that with financial expert advice, you might make better decisions. Sharp. I then decided I'm going to get a car because money was just finishing. Obviously, because it looked like there was a lot of money, but that's because I wasn't saving. I think the only thing I had at the time that was a savings was retirement annuity, right? And that's another thing, get retirement annuity as soon as possible. When you start working, start saving for your retirement. Sharp. Then I started looking for quotes, you know, I want a Merc. I always wanted the new A-Class at the time, and I found, you know, reasonable ones. I was also looking at like A3s, But and the 1 Series BMW, but yeah, they said to me I can't afford it. But then I was approved. Lesson number 1, just because you're approved for a certain car does not mean you can afford it, right? Okay, sharp, fine. I had other ways of, reducing the installment. I did not take a balloon. I did not. I was very adamant on that. I'm not going to take a balloon. I remember saying to myself, yeah, you probably can't afford this car, but if you're going to buy it, make sure you don't buy it on balloon. So there was other ways in which I was able to pay a reasonable amount for that car. I won't tell you how much I paid, but it's an A-class, it's a Mercedes-Benz, and I was a CA, a candidate attorney. Honestly, just weigh the two. I probably couldn't afford the car, right? Sharp. And you know why? It's not necessarily the installment, it was more of the maintenance. Tires were expensive. I traveled a lot. Church is Maopani, and I stayed in Pretoria East. I was clocking at least 2,500 kilometers a month. In a year, 30,000 kilometers. I remember that car reaching 100K very quickly. And then I had to take out service plan, warranty. Now I was paying extra on top of this car installment, the insurance, the tires here and there have to be changed. Petrol was expensive, and it just didn't make sense. But let me get to my point. I didn't have to. Remember that. I had a car. And that's one thing I always say I wish I didn't do, was buy that Mercedes-Benz, because it just brought expenses upon myself for no reason. Sharp. The following year, when I was a second year candidate attorney, my salary went up about 5,000 Rand or so. But that was not like normal inflation. It was actually like performances and stuff from work. So they gave me like a considerable amount of bump in the cheese for our level at least, but because of the performance. And I thought, okay, well, now there's an additional relief because I earn a little bit more than what I earned when I bought this car. But then I was starting to get calls from like the bank, credit card, overdraft. They were offering me all these credit facilities. Me not being woke, thinking, no, but I can afford to pay back these things. Got a credit card, I got an overdraft facility. Yes, I blew that overdraft facility in less than 2 weeks, right? Thinking, no, I'll repay it back. Woo, guys, what a mess. I shouldn't have, right? That's another big mistake that I did. I can understand credit cards, but the overdraft facility was a big mistake, okay? Because you think you have money, but you don't. Like you don't have the money, like it's not there. Sharp. Now I have these additional expenses, and then I get engaged, and I have to start saving for my wedding. And then I want to leave work, right? I want to find a new job, but the job opportunities that I'm getting are not going to pay me what I was earning as an associate at the time, right? So the reason why I decided at the time that I have to change my car was, 1, I couldn't afford it anymore because I had to save for a wedding. Number 2, I was gonna earn less money anyway because I wanted a new job. And that's the thing, right? Not having these type of expenses at least gives you the leeway to make decisions for yourself that are good for you without having to think, oh, but what's gonna suffer if I earn less money or whatever. Right. So I calculated the expense of having this vehicle, and I decided, you know what, it's best that I downgrade. And I even downgraded before I started the new job. And I went looking for a car, and at the time I was like, I'll settle for a Polo. It was something that I was used to because there was a Polo at home before. And my car at the time, the one I used to have, it was being used by my sister. They were using it at home because I couldn't drive 2 cars anyway. So I felt like at the time, because like almost 3 years later, I was just like, I don't want the car anymore. Like the old car, the Corsa. So I was just like, no, I'm going to have to get a new car. And so I eventually got a Polo at a reasonable trade-in price. The issue there was that I had traveled over 100 Ks on my Mercedes-Benz. So the trade-in value was very low. And there's also like a cap on the type of vehicle you can get, or the amount you spend on a trade-in vehicle, when you drive these like machines. Now I was embarrassed. I remember I cried when I traded in my Mercedes-Benz because I thought, what are people going to say? They're going to say I'm broke, I don't have money, like, yeah, neke pa and whatever. And in a way, maybe it's true, but I had to think about the decisions that were best for me. And hence I say we need to do away with the shame in like admitting that we made mistakes when it comes to these type of financial decisions. It's fine as long as you realize where you made your mistake and you get back on track. You see, it would have been fine if I bought the car maybe 2 or 3 years later, maybe when I became an associate, I had saved enough money or whatever. It would have been fine. Like, the problem is I bought it too prematurely, right? So I'm not saying don't buy the car. Also, you could be a person who starts working and you earn a lot of money, like doctors. They start working and they all buy BMWs, Mercedes-Benzes, whatever. Others are like, actually, let me save. It depends, but for me, it's making sure you've got a proper saving structure, so that when you're looking at your money, you're like, oh, actually, I don't have a lot, so I mustn't think that my money is going to waste, like I'm doing nothing with it. You will regret it, because it will force you in the future when you start seeing that the costs are not just the installment, but it's all these other things. It will force you now to have credit cards, overdraft facilities, and all this credit is stuff that you're going to struggle to pay back. So yeah, that's why I sold my Merc, and I'm happy that I did it. I know now, I sometimes think about it, I would have been done paying for the car. But guess what? It was going to give me other problems, right? And I probably wanted to change it, and it would cost more money to change it anyway, because cars value every year, a new model, it's more expensive than the previous years. The nice thing now is that I don't feel tied, to a particular job because I drive a specific car. And that for me is good enough. I worked at a manufacturing company, yes, and we got a car allowance, and I actually got a car at work for free. And then it was like, I had just bought the Polo, and it was like, but I got a free car at work, and I wish I knew, then I wouldn't have done it, right? I actually wouldn't have bought the Polo. But then, worked out like some sort of like payment thing with my parents. They could help me pay for that car because they anyway wanted a car to run around. So I was like, you know what, how about you guys take the Polo and help me, alleviate me by like paying for the premium or a portion of it, because I've got another car at work and I can't have both, And they helped me, and it sort of worked out in the end. And when I left that particular, I think where I worked at, Toyota. When I left Toyota, I bought a car from Toyota because employees could get like a discounted rate on vehicles. And so for me, what I paid is significantly less than what the car actually costs. And so my installment is not a lot. And I'm fine with the car. I'm like, yes, this car is comfortable. It's not a Merc. It's not fast like a Merc, but it's comfortable. I'm happy. I like it. And I've got no complaints right now, So my advice to like people who are about to start working, and I'm not a financial advisor, like I said, or if you just started working and you feel like you've got money but you don't see where it's going. First of all, you're privileged because you probably don't have black tax and all other things that you have to do. So you're probably not boxed, in your situation. But make sure you have some sort of saving structure before you think I have money that is not being used. Save a significant portion of your money, and then from there see what is it that you can afford if you want to buy a car, versus all your other expenses. And remember, a car is not just the installment. It's the tires, it's the service when the service plan runs out, the warranty if you have to extend that, your windscreen, I guess those stuff is insurance. It's your insurance, it's many things. Don't just look at, and that another thing, right? And this is how they lure people to go to dealerships, is when you're looking on these car finds or cars.co.za, they say from. They give you like an estimate of how much you're going to pay. You think, okay, I can afford it. When you get to the dealership, because you're already there, right? You probably already made your mind up that you're going to buy that car, only to find out that once they've actually done the calculations, that premium is up by 1K or 500 or even more. And you're just like, okay, it's not that bad. But guess what? You did not go to that dealership on the premise that you were going to, budget an extra 2,000 on the premium, right? Maybe it was advertised at 5,000. You get there, it's 6.5. You're like, it's not bad, it's fine, I can do it. But even that 500 rand that you didn't plan for is a lot of money. So make sure that you have your story correct when you decide you're going to get additional expenses. And the last advice is stay away from overdraft, guys. Like I finally paid it off at some point, right? But it was a struggle, especially because I was saving for a wedding and I wasn't earning as much as I used to. It was a struggle, but I had to be intentional about the stuff that I owed, and I'm in a much better place. And I keep saying to God, I want a Jeep by the end of the year. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it, but I want a Jeep by the end of 2021. Maybe I don't get it, but maybe by next year, June, Maraka plan, I like putting my stuff in in the right place so that it can happen. So yeah, I hope you guys learned something. I hope you received it. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not ashamed. If you want to laugh at me, laugh. If you want to, it doesn't matter to me. It's over. It's past and gone. Yeah, guys, please like, please share, please subscribe. And hopefully you guys have a good week further. And yeah, cheers. See you in my next edition.